At this point, decent people need to face a painful truth. Far too many of our family members, our friends, our neighbors, our co-workers, and classmates are fully complicit in the carnage of Donald Trump. His absolute disregard for our Constitution, throwing our nation into perpetual chaos, his rejection of the rule of law, stripping elemental rights from tens of millions of Americans, his unthinkable and unspeakable treatment of human beings because they're of a different color, or a different religion, or their English isn't 100% like his. All of them rounded up like animals and jailed without probable cause or trial, some even murdered. His capricious and violent crusade against veterans, universities, law firms, public school teachers, medical professionals, and journalists, the people we love and live alongside, those we study shoulder and shoulder with, and those we have invited to our hearts and our homes, they are responsible for all of this just as much as he is responsible. The war crimes in Gaza and Ukraine, the attacks on Venezuela, and his eventual attacks on Greenland and other nations. The medical relief ripped from the poorest of the world. The scalding panic felt by immigrants, both documented and undocumented. The unending emergencies that we are immersed in. The people we know, the people we work with, are all culpable for it. The literal and figurative blood is on their hands. They might as well be smashing the car windows of a migrant family waiting for their lawyer, joyously ripping the lunches from children living in poverty, unceremoniously terminating federal employees after decades of faithful service, terrorizing transgendered students in hallways of schools, and accosting pregnant women in emergency rooms. They could have easily stopped all of this. They could have allowed their humanity to come to bear a year ago when it was clear that he was cognitively shattered. Their singular goal was a fascist dictatorship that his agenda would consist solely of retribution against those who sought legal and moral accountability for him. Instead, our childhood friends, our favorite uncles, our next-door neighbors ignored all of it. They ignored constant journalists, revered constitutional scholars, renowned economists, and past presidents. They shunned their responsibility as Americans, and they rejected teachings of their faith tradition, and they have abandoned any kind of moral footing by enabling the ascension of a felon, rapist, scumbag monster who lacks a single noble impulse. Through whatever combination of racism, misogyny, prejudice, intellectual ignorance, and plain old hatred, they willfully collaborated with him. And now, they either fully endorse this most vicious and vile season of our nation's history or enable it by their cowardice and silence. And as a result of that cowardice, This senseless waste of life, this asinine global trade war, this stupid squandering of prosperity, this sociopathic perpetration against citizens and immigrants, they are all collaborators in on it. And in light of all of this, they don't deserve proximity with those of us who still, hourly, daily, push back against the criminality, exposing the atrocities, caring for those under duress. They are nothing but barriers to healing and obstacles to justice. I'm not sure if America can survive the damage we sustained in such a short time. Despite our best efforts, it may not be possible, at least in our lifetimes, to stop the bleeding, reverse course, and repair all that has been damaged since January 20th, 2025. But if any of this is going to happen, if we are to salvage our republic from this massing wrecking ball of cruelty, it is going to be necessary for the good people of this nation to sever ties with those still loyal to him. We need to withhold our friendship, exclude them from our holiday gatherings, and cut personal and professional ties, and, practically speaking, marginalize them. If we're truly believe that the bending arc of moral universe towards justice as I have placed in time at this point, his supporters need to become pariahs. They should not be welcome where good people gather. They need to be held accountable for unleashing this hell on all of us. I'm not speaking about those who have and will come to their senses, those with the humanity and empathy to admit their errors, those who are viable and vocal and visible in their resistance to this administration. While it would have been far better for their souls to have been ascended much earlier, later is better than never. But as far as its cheerleaders, champions, and kindred spirits, sociopaths, and disciples, they are proving themselves unreachable with reason, impervious to compensation and compassion, and morally allergic to anything that responsible human beings value. As in other times of historic monstrous regimes, there is no ambiguity left now. The lines are starkly drawn, the factions clearly defined, the opposing views unmistakable. On one side of this battle for the soul of our nation, the safety of its people and the welfare of the planet, is a sprawling independent community of those committed to healing, kindness, and the common good. And on the other side stands with this historically irredeemable would-be king, and those who, regardless of the story they tell themselves, still inexplicably stand alongside him. Compromise is not an option, and because of that, many of us are going to need to lean into the convictions and move away from people we know, love, and once respected. Sadly and tragically, that's just how this has to be. And the person responsible for all of this is Donald Trump. He created the division. He stoked it. He threw gasoline on an open fire. And like Nero, he's laughing while it all burns. CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.